Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a very special guest. Jam is probably one of my favourite Chelsea fans online, and he's such a positive person, and I can't wait to chat with him today about England. Obviously we did win yesterday, which is obviously great. We were saying off air it would have been so tough coming on here talking about it if we'd have lost, but Jam, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. Thanks for having me. Been looking forward to doing this all day. It's about time you and I linked up on a
Yes,
stream like this.
yeah, we've spoke, online a lot.
I love it how you said I am your favourite Chelsea fan. I mean, it's
Yeah, sorry to everyone on here,
yeah, absolutely.
but Chelsea. But yeah, obviously we'll be speaking about England. I mean, it was a really good win for us. But obviously there has been some really sad news that I did want to speak about first. I won't go too much into it because I think it's all a bit raw at the moment. But obviously we heard the sad news about Kevin Campbell sadly passed away. Obviously it's been a few days, and it's really weird to process because a lot of us knew he was ill for a little while. I knew that he had been at a hospital, but it was obviously quite shocking to hear that news. I think he was only 54 as well, and to me, he wasn't just a footballer. He was one of the nicest people I've known, in football, and obviously really devastating. I just wanted to first of all say my thoughts do go out to his family, friends, and even a lot of Arsenal fans, a lot of fans that really loved him. I know there's a lot of Everton fans as well that are obviously really heartbroken with that news. So, but first of all, my thoughts go out to them, and I just wanted to say that because I know it's been quite a few difficult days for a lot of people. Yeah, I'm trying not. I don't want to say too much about it because it's just it's quite strange to process because he was so young. But Jam, I don't know if you had any words to say about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just some short words here. Kevin Campbell seemed like a guy that was larger than life in a way that he was
Yeah,
always smiling. Um, and he just looked like someone to be around. Whilst I didn't really have any sort of
yeah,
direct dealings with him or anything like that, anyone that has met him has always said really good things. I know you have too. And yeah, it's 54's no age to go. Very, very sad. And yeah, my thoughts go out to his family and his loved ones. Really,
yeah.
it's really sad.
Yeah, I think it was just important that we, spreaded our love to their loved ones as well, because I know it's a very difficult time, especially the last few days for everyone. So we send our love to Kev's family and friends. But as I said in the video, we'll be speaking about England because we did win. We got a win, and honestly, I was just relieved we won. The first half, Saka, Bellingham, I thought were great. There was a few quiet performances, and I think Kane, because he had an injury, I could understand a bit more, but Foden was quite quiet as well. What were your thoughts on that performance and that win?
Do you know what? The main thing is we've got the W. We're all a bit used to England of generations gone by where we just get a draw in that first game or something like that, and then everyone just erupts into chaos and toxicity and all that. We got the W. So look, at least we got that, and there is a lot of work to do. There's work in progress. I mean, the first half was good. The second half not so good. My two things to say are that with Southgate, I respect what he's done, but I fear that he likes to have the handbrake on. He's a bit maybe too pragmatic. So as the game went on, we actually asserted our dominance, especially in the first half. We should have really pushed on and gone for the throw. Instead, we did keep ball without really any intention of hurting them, other than just making them tired. But the thing is, with football, it can flip on a switch like that.
Yeah,
They made their subs, and then all of a sudden, we're in trouble. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I do think that I'm not too sure Foden and Bellingham can play in the same team. It's sad, but it reminds me of the whole Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard thing. Um, do they try and occupy the same space? Do they try and dominate the ball just as much as each other? Do they want to be that playmaker, that centre focal point?
yeah,
Can Foden actually play on the wing? With pace and running in behind, that's not his game, and it showed. It really showed. So
yeah.
overall, I'm happy we got the W, but there's a lot of work to do. I mean, what did you think, so?
Yeah, the first half, I was really happy with because I think we should have scored more goals. I think with how we were playing, I thought we were amazing. I think with Saka, in a way he surprised me. Because he's had to deal with a lot of injuries at Arsenal, so he seems like he's back to himself again, which is really good. And Bellingham, I think I just feel so honoured that he's part of England. I just really love and respect him. And Rice as well. There were so many good performances. But yeah, I think the real worry for me is what changed in the second half, because we didn't really seem to change much. I mean, I can't remember the subs exactly, but I'm pretty sure Saka got taken off, and do you know what? I really like Cole Palmer, and I want to see a bit more of him. I just think he's a very talented player, and yeah, the substitutions were a bit, I was a bit unsure about. I think at the moment in that game, when they could have easily scored, like you said, things could change so quickly, and I don't feel like we've made the right subs to, change things. But I guess as well, if Harry Kane, if that didn't hit the crossbar, it would have gone in, then it's sort of like we'd talk about the game differently, wouldn't we, if he'd have scored that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and big up Carrington Blunt,
Yeah,
big
big
up,
up.
big up. You're right. It could have been different if that chance had gone in. I also think Serbia had a few chances that were probably a little bit like scary moments. But yeah, look, you've picked out some individuals there, and shout out to them. I thought they were the outstanding individuals that got us across the line. But I really just going forward. So watching some of the other games, watching Germany, watching even the Netherlands going forward, Spain. Spain's a good one, and I'll come to that in a
Yeah,
second. I just want to see us a bit more fluid in attack and actually getting more shots off. I just feel like a lot of people say that you win international tournaments based on a solid defense. I would flip that and say you can win it in moments as well going forward, and we have the
yeah,
players to do that, and that's our strength as a team is our attack, on paper. But why I wanted to pick out Spain just really quickly as an example is I watched their game the other day against Croatia, who are notoriously a very good tournament team, at least in the last few years. Very hard to break down in Croatia. Spain had the perfect balance of tiki taka, but trying to break the lines, get beyond them, make that threaded pass. I mean, Morata playing up front helps because he makes runs in behind. But
yeah. He's
all
very
of
good.
them, they had exactly, and they had the pace on the wings. And I think that gave them a real good balance of tiki taka, play the ball. And they absolutely murdered Croatia. I really think we're missing that with having our starting players as they were. I mean, Saka's did well to get the assist by making a run in behind, but we're missing that on the left. And our left back is Trippier, who won't do that. So, bit of work to do, but I'd like us to be a little bit more like Spain. Keep ball
Yeah,
great, but do it with the intent of trying to break the lines, trying to get Harry Kane on the ball in the final third, trying to get shots on target. Then I'm a happy jam, and everyone wants a happy jam. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, definitely. I mean, there has been a lot of questions about our defense, and I do agree, because if we're able to, attack better, score more goals, be more clinical, then we shouldn't have much of a problem. I think our defense, last night I thought we got a clean sheet. Pickford I thought was really good. It's quite weird because when I'm watching Arsenal, the defense is like perfect, and it's a bit different with England because there are a few shaky moments. So I feel like okay about our defense, to be honest. I just think though, like you said, as if we get further and we play teams a lot more difficult, we do have to be much better than we were last night. But I think for me at this moment in time, will take this win, because I think if we had lost that game, then I just think it would have been a terrible start for us, because I know the team need this for their confidence, because I think we had to win that. And I know we did have a good first half. And I mentioned about Saka and Bellingham. Like, what did you make of that link up? I know we only did score one goal, but I just felt excited watching them two play together.
Oh yeah, big time. And I'm just going to pick up on something you just said really quickly, then I'll come to answer your question. But it's funny because you're coming into this off the back of last season. You've got those high standards with Arsenal right
Yeah,
now. How the times have changed. Like, look at me with this club right here. Yeah,
I know.
I'm looking at that and I'm thinking we got to win. I'm going to take it. But no, in all seriousness, the link up between Saka and Bellingham was it? Um,
Yeah,
I I I liked it. I really did because the thing is with Saka is that he draws players. Like
Yeah,
he's so good at just drawing players, and he can pull players out of position. And when he draws the players in, like he's still good at manufacturing enough space to make use of that situation. It could be him getting a foul. It could be him just working the space to get across, getting to the byline, cutting it back, or just jigging inside and just threading a pass across the box. And big up to you, Wookie
yeah,
Cookie.
big
It's good, but I can really see that working with Bellingham. I mean, look at the goal. That's the best example,
yeah,
albeit there was a deflection, but the running behind for Saka, bit of luck from the deflection, but you got to do it. You got to put your name in a hat to win. So he did it, and Bellingham crashing the box like that is a sight to behold.
yeah,
I'm going to look at my own club and think of Lampard vibes. Maybe he wouldn't have scored a header quite like that, but arriving late in a box like that was his trademark, and I love to see those traits in Bellingham. I actually doubted him slightly playing in the 10 and thinking he could play as an 8. We could get somebody else in there. But no, he really proved it last night. But the link up between Saka and Bellingham was promising, something to look forward to going forward.
yeah,
I just like Bellingham's I am him persona character. It sometimes can be toxic in the sense of some players, but with him,
yeah,
I think we need to keep going the I am him thing. It's a bit like Cole Palmer with Chelsea this season gone.
yeah.
Let him be him and feed him because good things will happen. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
promising between
yeah,
those two.
yeah. I think with Bellingham, I think he's confident, but I like the fact that he's not cocky. Like he's not that step far. Like he's confident in himself and who he is as a player and a person. And I watched a bit of an interview after, and he is so mature for his age. It's just like it's like listening to like an old person talk. It's really nice. I think he's really. I just really, wherever he goes, whichever team he goes for, I just like to see him do well. I think he's one of those players that are doing really well, like Saka as well. I think it'd be good to see a bit more of Saka throughout the tournament, obviously. But the lineup situation is going to be interesting if it changes, because I know there's a lot of players on the bench. You mentioned Cole Palmer as well. There's so many players that you could bring on. It's a good point actually. It's about Foden as well. Foden disappointed, yet Saka still got the lowest mark. Do you know what? It's really weird with Foden because I've seen a lot of comments about the fact that Foden will fit into Pep's system, but when it's another system, he's not able to deal with that. Like, what do you think? Do you think he'll get better as the tournament will go on, or how do you feel about his performance yesterday?
Well, first of all, that was a disgrace. Saka getting the lowest mark. I've just got to put it out there. That was
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, Foden. It's a very tough one because whilst he's got experience, he's still a relatively young player. So you never want to overdo it with the criticism in
yeah,
this sense, and still think that he's still growing, he can adapt, and maybe he hasn't even hit his peak yet. So the best could yet still be to come.
yeah,
But it's noticeable that he has struggled a little bit. I said it earlier. I think in this team, I'm not sure him and Bellingham can play together because they're trying to occupy the same space and do the same things. And that's a problem. That is a problem. So I think in this Southgate team as it is, we actually need a natural winger out there on the left rather than a Foden. And I just think that Pep's system can be so unique that it can be quite difficult to then try and apply that into another team that could be a little bit more direct, or as you're playing with players that aren't looking for the little 1-2s, that maybe aren't getting that space of separation as Man City players would do. There's little triggers, and it's difficult. He has to adapt, but I genuinely just believe that rather than him getting all this criticism, getting cooked, it would be good for him just to be dropped for the next game. Let's get a winger out there. Let him come off the bench. He can always come off the bench for Bellingham, and I think that's just as effective. I mean, we've got to look at the whole squad and just think that Foden's best years are probably yet to come. So whilst he was disappointing, I think that's a system thing rather than necessarily him as a
yeah.
player. So I think we should go a little bit easy on him. But what did you think, Soph, anyway?
Yeah, it's quite strange because I do think people can go a bit too far with the criticism. Like it's been one game. I think it's a bit unfair. I think I'd want to give him, a couple of games to see what I think. I said before this tournament, I don't think we'll see, the way he was at Man City, throughout the tournament. I don't think, Man City, there's all sort of players around him, but I also think England, there's amazing players around them here. I think it's hard to tell right now. But I think with Saka, I feel like he's more adaptable in different systems or under different styles of play. So that could be why Saka had a better game. But I think with Saka, whenever he plays for England, I think it is always an honour for him, and you can see how much he enjoys playing for England. So I just think we've got to really get behind the team. I do hope, obviously, Foden performances do improve. I think I was a bit surprised how quiet him and Kane were. I think Kane, obviously, I think he had a few important things that second half. I know when we nearly conceded, he did that incredible header and he hit the crossbar. So I feel like Kane, you could see he did better in the second half. I think we just need to give the players time, and I wanted to actually talk about this because I actually really liked it personally. Did you like it when he shoved that guy's shoulder?
Yeah, do you know what? This is what I'm talking about, the I am him energy. Like he just exudes it. And I
Yeah.
did like it. I'm happy he didn't get a booking because that's the only thing. It's like, could you sometimes overstep the mark if the ref sees that maybe? But nah, sometimes you've just got to give it out. I know why he did it as well, because he kept getting fouled, but
Mm,
I think funnily enough, he picked on the wrong player because I don't think Kostic was the one doing it. But anyway, you've got to send a message out there just to say, nah, do
yeah.
you know what? I am him. And I rated it. I did.
Yeah, I actually I heard the commentators at the time, and I think they were saying something like there was no need for it, and I just thought like there's no need to be negative about it. I just thought it was funny watching it. I think it's great because you can see the passion he has, and I just think Bellingham's such an incredible player, but I do love his personality as well. I think a lot of England fans really enjoyed that moment. But as I said, there were so many incredible players, performances. Which performance would you say impressed you the most? Because I think it's hard to say at the moment because I thought a lot of players did so well.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm going to give some honourable shout outs. Higher. So Bellingham's the obvious one.
Yeah,
We've already spoken about it. We don't need to go into it too much. He obviously got man of the match. Saka as well. We've spoken
yeah,
about him. I think he was quite lively on the right, gave us quite a lot of options and threat down that side. I just want to big up Mark Gurhey because
yeah,
it's his first international tournament. Kind of, I don't think he would have expected to play 2 months ago. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. It's
But
an honour.
he took his best game out there. Leadership traits, solid at the back, good positioning, solid in the tackle. I don't think he really made any mistakes. The friendly against Iceland, he was a bit shaky. So today, yesterday, sorry, I think he did really, really well. I just want to shout out him.
Mm,
Beyond that, everyone else was solid. Rice, I think, did all right.
yeah,
But yeah, those three would be the ones that really, really took my eye. Really, I thought
yeah.
they did particularly well.
Yeah, I think everyone you said then, I think for me, they stood out. I think, a lot of people said Declan Rice for the player of the match, and I think he was good, but I think the other players stood out a bit more for me. I think Bellingham, I would say, probably did a bit more. It's so hard to judge because we could have done a bit better in that first half, I think. But I think, yeah, the link up play, like we said, has been really, really special. But I think, Pickford, actually, I think he did well, actually. I don't remember, it might have been the second half, but he made a really crucial save. And I think it's quite weird for Everton versus when he's at England. It's so different. It's like Maguire. I mean, Maguire has actually been a lot better for United recently, but I think players, when they get that chance to play for England, they do seem to step up, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. There is one thing with Pickford though. I thought he played well
Yeah,
overall, but there is that little. It's like his inner 4-year-old wants to come out. Do you know what I mean? It's like sometimes he looks a little bit too overhyped, and there was a moment where he punched a ball unnecessarily when he could have caught it. But
yeah,
that's because he was almost charged up and wanted to do something. You could just see it. So if he can suppress that inner 4-year-old and
Yeah,
keep doing the rest of the game just in a nice, calm matter, composed, then yeah, he's going to have a good tournament. I just don't want for him to overdo a moment like that and then miss the
yeah,
ball, or do you know what I mean? But
make a
other than
mistake.
that, like, I did rate him, and you're right. Like, some players seem to pick up for the international team. We love to see it.
Yeah, well, I think when you play for England, I think it's a big honour. So I think that's why you see a lot of players play different, and you're also around different players as well. I just wanted to read this comment as well. On performance, win's a win, and about getting off on a good start. First game, so there's less pressure in the next. Obviously, we have to improve performance wise. I think I definitely agree. I think like when the Lionesses had the first game in the Euros, it wasn't the best performance, but they won. That's just what you've got to do. I think. I know a lot of people are quite critical about the performance. I mean, I know Denmark for me in the group will probably be. I see that as a more difficult one out of all the teams we have, but I do. I feel confident enough because I think this team has produced, in that game yesterday, really good moments. But for you, like in the tournament, how far do you expect England to go?
I expect them to get to the final. I'm not going to lie. You
Yeah,
know, call it home tournament tax, but the last Euros we got to the final and we should have won. Um, I will just add this. Yesterday's performance kind of had shades of that final against Italy in the way that we started so well, then eased off and invited that pressure. We didn't get punished yesterday. So I think going forward, we need to really work on that and take our chances. And when we're on top, take advantage
yeah,
of it. Um, Only if we do that do we get to the final. I don't think we'll get as lucky as we did last time with the draw. I think the
yeah,
World Cup was really good, but we landed on France, and France were too good for us. Obviously, Harry
yeah,
Kane unfortunately missed a penalty, but we have to be expecting ourselves to get far in this. There's no more quarterfinal, semi-final. This team is primed. We've got some serious talents in there. This is probably Southgate's last tournament. I don't think we should really be expecting less. If
yeah,
anything, he needs to go out on a high. So, whilst I say that as expectations, I'm fully
yeah,
aware of England and the history and the baggage that we carry and what the
yeah.
barriers we have to break down to get there. I get it, the mentality, everything. Maybe a bit of luck with the draws, but I need to see us in the final. It just, for me, it has to happen, and I'll go as far as to say that final. What about you?
Yeah, the thing is, we should be getting to the final. Consider like you look at the team we have as well. I think from the Euros last time as well to now, I think it's an incredible team we've got, and I think we can get to the final. I think, especially with the players that miss the penalties, it probably give them more motivation. If they get that close, they'll want to win it because I know how much it meant to them. I know we were so close, and I think we can do it. I think, like you say, I think if we, I think the teams that if we face, like a France, like Wookie Cookie said here, I think if we get France, I think it would be a struggle. But I think Gareth Southgate knows that he's got to win it because I think if we don't win it and even if we lose in the final, I think he'll probably go. But if we did win it, do you still feel like he should get more time, or do you feel like we should win that for him and he should go? Because I know a lot of fans aren't big on Southgate. For me, I like him as a person, but I just don't know. Like I just feel like a lot of the time we do play quite boring, and I think if we won, I wouldn't mind like him staying. But if we didn't win, I think there's no excuses. Like he would have to go.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for him, there is always a right time to leave. Even if he won it, it
Mhm.
probably is the right time to leave. He's been here long enough.
Yeah,
It is a new generation of players on the whole. I think it would be really good to leave it there, and it would do him, really the world of good in his own managerial career. Then he can go, step up to the club game again if he wants to and earn some real good
yeah,
money for himself and his own career. So I would say that, depending on how we won it, I would not mind him staying in a sense. So
yeah,
let's say we won it and he had clear progression and evolution from his style of play, no more pragmatism, better performances than what we saw yesterday, going for the throat, playing to our strengths, maybe making some match-changing subs, um, let us dominate more games in a sense, then yeah, I could roll with it. But my one thing with him is that we always seem to be safety first, and I don't think
Yeah,
that plays into the strengths of the current crop that we've got coming through. It's an attack-minded team. We've got Harry Kane for maybe another tournament or two. We
yeah,
need to make the most of that and him. In my opinion, if we're going to win a trophy, it's around now. So if he doesn't win it, I think time's up. Thank you very much, but we've got to move on. I
yeah,
think if he wins it in the way that I hope he could, with progressive football, let him stay. I'm cool with that. But if he wins it and it's a bit of a, oh, we won it on penalties, or we kind of, we just got through and there hasn't
yeah.
really been that much progression in style of play and things, then I'll probably say now's the right time for him to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I personally, I know you can win, playing ugly football, which it can be good, but I like to watch, beautiful football as well as winning. Like, I think, like you said, I think if we convincingly, got to the final, won it, and we could see improvements there. I think, in attack yesterday, we saw some really great moments. And I was enjoying what we were seeing, with the link up plays. It just felt really enjoyable to watch. And I think if we can continue to do that, not for the whole 90 minutes, but a bit more than the first half, because it was a shame for me that in the second half it did drop off. I mean, for you in the second half, what do you think changed? Do you think, Serbia were better, or do you feel like, because we seemed to take our step off, like we didn't do as well as we did in the first half. Like, what do you think changed?
Yeah, good question. So I just think it's football. I just think
Mm,
when you play with your food in football, I don't know what I'm going to say other than you're going to get bitten in the ass.
yeah,
Eventually, football is about moments. It's about capitalizing when you're on top. Taking your chances. And Serbia would have gotten a rocket at half time. They've got some very good players in that team. At the elite level, they're not a joke.
mm,
So they probably all went in there quite embarrassed. The manager gave them a rocket and just said, "You're better than this, lads. Like this hasn't been a football match. You're getting dominated." So they would have come out with some personal pride, which they did. They
yeah,
improved, and then they made their attacking subs. They brought on Tadic and somebody else, but both really attacking subs, and it completely flipped the emphasis. By then they were on top. They had the confidence. They were like, "We can get something here." And then England kind of got stuck in a halfway stage for a little bit before Gareth made some
yeah,
subs. So my advice going forward would be Jovic. Yeah, thank you, Wiki Cookie.
yeah,
Um, my advice would be we've just got to make the most of when we're on top, not just
yeah,
keep ball at 1-0 up, go and score again, because we scored early enough. We could have got a second before half time if we really wanted to. But then after that, at this level in international tournaments, you're leaning into lady luck, and we got lucky yesterday. But it's just a momentum switch, and then their manager probably rallied the troops. So um,
yeah.
it's more on what Serbia did to come back into it and take advantage of us not taking advantage of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. I think the first half was so good. I mean, I don't expect us to play like that the whole game, but I think when you have a really good spell in that first half, I think, like you said, we had to make the most of it, and we didn't. And it does come to bite you, like, when things happen in football, because they were quite close quite a few times to taking their chances. I think, defensively, I think we did good, but I know at one point I think Trent gave away the ball and then they nearly scored. Like, those sort of moments we can't afford to do. But I think, you know what, we do need to learn from that, and I hope the players know that it wasn't our best performance. But I think, there were good things to take from it. And talking on Trent, I obviously wanted to get your thoughts, because a lot of fans are quite mixed on this, because I think the media are quite critical of him, and I feel like the criticism is a bit harsh. Like, I like Trent, but I think, like a lot of people defensively, I have always had my little worries. But I also feel like going forward, he's able to create some incredible passes, like, that are insane. I mean, we saw him play yesterday. Were you surprised to actually see him start? Because I didn't really expect to see him start personally.
Yeah, that was a surprise. That was a real big surprise. And I find it really weird that he would just be thrown in midfield like that. So I was
Yeah,
very surprised.
yeah,
The thing is, right, Trent does get a lot of stick. Defensively, he's not necessarily up to it all the time, but we know that's not really his strength, funnily enough, as a natural defender. He's so good on the ball. That's what he is.
yeah,
So we know what we're getting with Trent. So when we stuck him in midfield and he was playing the way he was, it shouldn't really be too much of a surprise. The guy is all about flair. Like that's him hitting
yeah,
balls. Like he's used to that. That's rock and roll football. That's Liverpool. Now, this is where it clashes with Southgate's own tactics. We didn't have any players running in behind, other than Saka occasionally. No one else. So Trent didn't really have that space to hit, those runs to hit. He was a bit lost.
yeah,
And with that said, that's got to be on the manager more than Trent. I actually think that Trent's game wasn't great, but that's what you're going to get with him in those tactics. Personally, I would stick him left back. I know we've got questions
yeah,
defensively about him, but I really think he would offer a hell of a lot more than Trippier would, because he will use his left foot sometimes, which gives us a different angle. He's comfortable on the ball. Do you know what I mean? I
yeah.
think he's got a definite future at left back for us at the moment.
I think we've got to give it a chance. I think, like you said, I think it'd be good to see him play. I think the midfield, seeing him play there, I was a bit sort of like surprised, because he doesn't really play there, and I know defensively he did get caught out. But I just feel like he's so important to have on the team, because he gives us that attacking, those balls up front. He's such an incredible player to watch, and I know defensively he has made mistakes, but I think that's how he learns really. And I know the media are quite critical about him, but I definitely want to see him play a bit more. I know Trippier as well. I know towards the end of the season, Newcastle, he wasn't too good. He was a bit poor, but I didn't honestly mind, who plays in that position. I think Trent definitely, I'd like to see more of. But obviously, our next game, I think, is on Thursday. Would you like to see any changes from the team? Because I know we've got a really good squad, but would you change anything?
I watched Denmark's game, and they can be quite robust and solid. And it's tough. I almost think that you almost want Trent playing in that game. But again, as a left back, because he can pick the lock from left back, he really could. You know what his right foot and left foot are like. My one thing is, I would prefer a centre mid, an actual natural centre mid playing.
Yeah,
So that would probably be a Kobe Manu.
hmm
Because I just know with the likes of Højbjerg in centre mid and things, they're going to try and shut up shop in there, and it's going to be very difficult to move around. So a bit more movement with Minu and trickery. I actually think this is a game that's made for him to play. Foden, this is going to sound contradictory to what I just said about the movement and cleverness, but we need an actual natural winger on the left, making it runs in behind and giving them a different threat to think about.
yeah,
I'd go with Anthony Gordon starting, and then I'll bring Foden on. I really, really, really would, because we need those legs there. Other than that, that would be my team. I'd put Trent left back, I'd put Kobe Manu centre mid, and then I'd put Anthony Gordon on the left. What about you, So?
yeah. Do you know, I really like Andy Gordon. I think in the friendly games, I just really think he's a great player to have. I think he really works really hard, and I'd love to see him definitely. I think with Foden as well. I think if you brought him off the bench, you might have an impact. Hold on, I just wanted to answer this. No Gallagher.
No. Gallagher, I really like him. I just don't think this is a game for him. You can flip it one way or the other. So you could say, yeah, his strengths are winning those balls and being a second ball machine, getting those tackles in the high press and just battling. It could work. But I think Denmark are going to be so risk averse and almost pot the bus and try and counter that I don't think he's just the best guy to have too much possession of the ball. We're better off with a Minu, in my opinion. Even a Wharton, but Wharton's a bit more defensive. So that's why I'd go Kobe Minu. Just a bit of trickery. Maybe he could beat a player here and there. Gallagher, that's not really his strength. His strength is the battling. So maybe save him for a Spain if we get them or something like that. Go and upset some people.
Yeah, definitely. I think I agree with that. I think Foden. I just feel like if he came off the bench when we needed him, I feel like he'd have more of an impact. I feel like at the moment, do you know what? I have seen a lot of people ask if we should keep Harry Kane starting, and I'm just like, well, yeah, he's a very good goal scorer. The thing is, I know didn't score in our game yesterday, but I just feel like it'd be silly not to start him. I know we've got other players that bring on instead, but I just feel like Harry Kane is known for scoring so many goals. I know in the Euros last time he was really good for us, so I just feel like we need to give it a few games to kind of see which players are working. But I definitely think with Trent in midfield, I think it was more of a test. It to me didn't really work out. But like you said, it's not necessarily Trent's fault, because I suppose if a manager tells you to play there, you'll obviously do that. And I know Trent is a very good player. I just think, like we said, defensively, we'll have to just see how he gets on, really. But I would love to see him, get that start as well. But it's sort of between him and Trippier. But with the Denmark game, I want to get your score predictions going into it. How are you feeling about it after the England win yesterday?
Yeah, just really quickly on the Harry Kane thing, I just want to add this. Harry Kane was clearly told to stay up front and play as a striker, centre forward, in the first half. So that's
Yeah,
why he got Darren Bent level of touches. Like, I think he only had 2 touches by half
yeah.
time.
It's very fun, really. He was so quiet.
Yeah, this is it. Because there would have literally been next to zero threat in that back line. And that's so easy to defend against when everything's in front of you. Because we know his natural game is dropping in deep. Second
Yeah,
half, he just started doing that because he literally didn't touch the ball. But then that's more reason to have a natural winger that can run in behind him on the left, so he can do that.
yeah,
And maybe say to Saka, if you could do that a little bit more, like you did for the goal, that would be great. It would work for Kane, I think. But sorry, predictions for Denmark. Um, Denmark in tournaments, you should never, never, ever write them off. They're a
yeah,
really weird team, and they have been for years. And I think they have some handy players in there that, they're a good unit, good chemistry. It's going to be tough. They're going to try and counter us. They're going to sit back and be robust, be very difficult to play against. They would have watched that game and said, okay, England will be happy for you to have the ball in front of us, but we're going to get our shape and 5 at the back or whatever. They're going
yeah,
to do that. So I don't expect goals, but I'll go for another 1-0 to England. I think
yeah.
there'll be a moment of quality, something like that. Maybe Harry Kane's finally, announcing himself in this tournament, and 1-0. What do you think?
Yeah, I think for me, I think it's going to be a lot difficult than what people think. I think I watched them the other day, and I thought they looked like a team that would be very difficult to play against. And I think with us, like you mentioned before, being clinical, when we have a really good spell, we've got to really capitalize on that, because one goal doesn't really win you the game. You need to make sure. I think if we had scored two and, I felt comfortable defensively, I think, that would be good. But I think, like you said, at the moment, we've just got to win these games. And yeah, the team, I'll be interested to see if Gareth Southgate keeps it the same or changes anything. Like we said, I do think it'd be good to see a few changes, because I think a few of the players, probably didn't, like a Foden. I think I'd like to see him come off the bench to see if he actually is probably more of like an impact player for this game, because I think in this game, I think we'll have a lot of the ball and we'll have a lot of chances, but I just feel like they're a tough team. I just feel like they're going to score. I feel I'm going to go 2-1 England, but I feel like it's going to be one of those nerve-wracking games where we can't relax. I hope not, because it's going to be tough. But I think for me, like we said, get into that final, winning it. I think we've just got to take each game as it comes. I mean, I think it'd be weird if we won the tournament but we didn't play good football. Like, I'd want us to play good football and win a tournament. Like, even if we, I kind of prefer us playing good football and winning. Like, I know winning ugly is important. I've seen that with Arsenal a lot of the times when we try and win a title, we've had to get through those difficult games. But how would you kind of feel if we won the tournament but it wasn't in a way that we liked?
Yeah, this question obviously was asked in a slightly different way with this Southgate thing. So I just want to announce for anyone watching, this is a different question, right? I wouldn't care, but I need to see armpits, lifting a trophy like this. I need to see it. So I wouldn't care in the short term. I'd be extremely happy. I think the country need it. They need the trophies. You know, it's been a funny old time here. So it would be amazing. It would be
Yeah.
unbelievable. But long term, linking it into my other answer now, I
Mhm.
just don't think if we don't play good football and we were to win it, it still wouldn't be right for Southgate to continue in that
Yeah.
sense. If we played good football and we won it, and he seemed to be progressing with his methods, I'd be happy for him to stay.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, you know, it would be amazing. I wouldn't really care. I just want to see
Yeah.
that trophy. What about you?
Yeah, I think a lot of us, I think like I said, we've got to win it. I think at this point, it doesn't kind of matter, how we would win it. I think, like you said, the long term, maybe if we get into other, competitions when the World Cup comes up, next time, and we fall short again. I know we played France and that was tough, but I think you make good points. That I think it's been such a long time since the men's team has won it. I just feel like it'd be nice to see Gareth Southgate win it as well, because even if he decided to leave, it would be a good time for him to leave with a trophy and with such an incredible group of players. So yeah, I think I want to see him get the best out of all these players that we have, and I think as the tournament goes on, I think we'll figure that out if he can. But it'd be such an amazing feeling winning the Euros. But because I look at a lot of the teams like France, Germany, like Italy, there's so many teams. Like I just feel like it just shows you how good we are if we're able to beat them or win it, because I just think, look at Havertz as well at Germany. I think he's going to have a really good tournament. Ronaldo at Portugal, maybe we'll have to see. It'll be interesting. But I think we've got to win it. But I definitely agree that I hope it can come home, Jam. Fingers crossed. Yeah, bring it on. Come on, England. But yeah, that game will be on Thursday, which should be good. I'm actually enjoying it. It's quite weird having football on 3 times a day at the moment. It's like non-stop football.
100%. I'm just happy I get an early finish at work and straight to the pub to watch that game.
Oh, it's nice. It's a nice feeling. But Jam, thank you for coming on today. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. I know that I said before we've only ever spoke on Twitter, and it's finally really lovely to have you on and to speak to you today.
Yeah, Sophie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. Everyone that's watching this, make sure you like and subscribe as well. I see some real big things for you, Soph. You know, I'm watching this rise here. I'm one of your fans, so big up yourself.
Oh, you're too kind, Jam. Stop. But no, I've really enjoyed having you on. We'll definitely do it again. Fingers crossed we can get that win against Denmark, because I can't imagine the social media side of it if we lose. I think we'll all be pretty annoyed. But yeah, we've got to win. Fingers crossed we can. But like Jam said, please do hit the like button, do subscribe if you are new and if you are still watching. And I hope you'll have enjoyed the video. I've really enjoyed having Jam on today. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.